Hi guys, this is Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV and welcome to the Classic series, and we're going to start with Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, the Director's Cut. Now, way back in the day, when I first started playing games, I really loved the old adventure games, and there were a lot of classics, a lot of them put out by LucasArts, one or two by Revolution, who make Broken Sword, for example, that brought out a series of games that I spent a ridiculous amount of time on, and that was where my interest first started out. And there are some stunning ones, and there's been one or two where there's been re-released versions, updated versions that have been brought back and have been available on Steam, and this is one of them. Now, Broken Sword, the Director's Cut version of Shadow of the Templars, is different from the original game, and you can get this on the Apple Store as an app for iPads, for iPhone, that sort of thing. And I played a bit of it, but not a whole lot, so I don't know this as religiously as the other games do. But there are 3 Broken Swords, which I'm going to bring you. I've also got the Monkey Island series, the updated versions of those, which is LucasArts. Beyond that, to go back to some of the originals, I'm going to have to mess around and try and get some of those to run if this becomes a popular series. But we'll see how it goes. I'd be more than happy to hear from you guys and see what you think. But first of all then, let's get this going and see how we like it.
City of love, romance and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too. But ever since that day, the day of the murder, I have always associated my beloved Paris with death. I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away. Here I was, the palace of the Media King and the Ice Queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty? You're too kind, madame.
The talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I do not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father, he never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
Uh-oh.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat.
God, what? Monsieur Carchon! He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here.
There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One of the most important men in Europe murdered. And here was I, Nico Coulard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation? It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, so we're just going to sit here and wait for the cops. No, kidding, of course not. So, little few instructions coming up on the screen. This girl that we've got here is one of the main characters. In the original version that I played, you don't actually control her all that often. Most of it's done by the other main character, George Stobart, the American guy. Whether he comes up in this or not, I don't know. We will soon find out. I'm 99% sure that he will. But yeah, she's a young journalist trying to make it for herself in Paris and gets herself a big interview like this, and then the guy she's supposed to be interviewing ends up snuffing it. Why there's a mime casually standing over the guy that you'd suspect he probably killed him? Why would you just walk towards him and get knocked out? You'd think of something better than that, surely. But no, that hasn't happened. So, little look here. Briefcase, inventory, diary to access the diary, obviously enough. And question mark to get puzzle hints and interactive help. And the spanner icon to save, restore, adjust settings, etc. Right, okay. And then also just to get to grips with this. Yeah, it's pretty much left click.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I'd called him.
And then you notice I've got the cursor. If you hover over something, you get different icons. So that is pick up. You've got use, which is the cogs. Look, which is the eye or the magnifying glass. All fairly self-explanatory.
It was one of my hair clips. My favourite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
Okay, get rid of incriminating evidence. Nice.
I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. I opened his eyes. Best to leave the crime scene as I found it. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now. Carchon had been shot.
Okay, no rooting through the trousers. Awesome. Kind of happy we haven't got any of that. Let's leave that alone. And let's see what else we can find in here.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
And then, pro tip for revenge games like
The
this.
killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him.
It's click on everything, look at everything, learn everything you can.
A bust of Pierre Cauchon, humble servant of La France.
Broken Sword, it's always fairly straightforward, but there is the odd one or two little things where you've got to be awake to spot it, kind of thing.
The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions. Pierre Cauchon again. His eyes seemed to follow me around the room.
So let's make sure that we've got everything in here that we could possibly need. Yeah, we looked at everything, so let's head back out. See what's going on out here.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
Of course, guarantees to go be locked.
The door was locked.
Yeah, what a surprise.
A Louis XIV table with an antique cloth. Imelda had taste. But hey, with a husband that rich, taste is easy. I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful.
Oh, hello.
Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole. Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming. It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the colour I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favourite colour.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that.
So let's chat to this bit, so we can get some clues.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
And then got things we can ask her about. These are the items that I've got at the moment. These are the people or things that I can ask about as well. So we've got husband, mine. Not sure who that is at the moment, so let's start there.
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Collard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
Okay, so that's a dad.
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything.
No, and frankly, I preferred it that way.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronise me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Yes, that's why I do this job.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if my editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already. I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this.
Sweet. Secret key to a secret room. Okay, so let's get on this. Check out that drawing room.
A magnificent antique table. The door was locked.
Good job I got a key then.
Now we were getting somewhere.
Okay, see what we got in here.
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already.
See any kind of safe in behind this picture?
The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? There was the very faintest of clicks. Behind the picture
What a surprise.
was a safe.
Okay, well, we found this. Maybe that's got something to do with it?
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring.
Have a little sit down.
This wasn't
Chill.
the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why. As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank. My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Carchon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it.
Okay, looks like we might be doing a bit of printing here then. Got it.
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one.
Okay, let's do this. So, print the artifact on the paper, like a boss.
I rolled the artifact in the paint until it was completely coated.
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
An antique tray with paint spread all over it.
Not a lot I could do with that.
Okay, I'll print it on the cloth then. If you're not going to let me get a sheet of blotting paper.
No.
Guess not. Okay. Interesting.
Not a lot.
Wait, I got it. It's got ink on the artifact.
Genius. The roller and the pen worked just as I planned. But what did it say? It was some kind of coded message. It read, "Sub judice." I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The Conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the Conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time. Locked. Not surprising, really.
Cool. Well, I think that's everything we've covered here. So I'm just going to get out, avoid the police. One more word with this bitch first, I guess.
Did you find anything useful?
This carving. Do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend. Something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask,
Don't worry. You were never here.
sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the Conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the Conciergerie, it would have to be from there.
Okay, so we're on our way to this new place. Could call this part here, though.
Carchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed.
So that was part 1 of this classic series for Broken Sword 1. This has been Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV. If you've enjoyed this, then feel free to throw a comment in the comment section. Give the video a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we've got other classic games that are going to be coming up, as well as Football Manager, Counter-Strike Global Offensive if you like FPS. Lots of stuff that should take your interest, hopefully. And if there's anything else you'd like to see from us, then just, again, drop me a line and I'll do my best for you. Until next time, catch you very much. Or thank you very much, and catch you next time.